guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. Thank you for those who are tuning in and watching. Now you may see me with a lot of decorating or cooking videos, but one of my biggest passions is reading. And I love to read and I love to watch other people's reviews on reading as well. So I put together a list of all 29 books that I've read in 2024. 29 because I turned 29, so this year I'll be doing 30 books, but I put together a list of all 29 books that I read in 2024, and I'm here to give you my honest thoughts. Now, if you're someone like me who relies on other people's opinions to feel a certain way about a certain book, and you're easily swayed by those opinions, maybe this isn't the video for you. But, if you are interested in listening to my opinion on all the books I read this year, please keep watching. If you're not an avid reader, but maybe in 2025 you'd like to become one, you can check out the list of books I read in the description. If they have a green check mark by them, I definitely recommend them. If they have a star next to them, they're one of my favorites of the year. So let's get started and look at some of the books that I have read. Now, most of the books that I have read have come from the local library. Being a reader is an expensive habit, that's for sure, and an expensive hobby. But I get most of my books at the library, and if I like them enough after reading them at the library, I tend to purchase them at Barnes & Noble in case I want to reread them later, or really it's like having a little book trophy, to be honest. It's just mostly for my bookshelves. So I'm going to grab my phone here and look up the list of books I read. I read 29 books, so I'm going to go through them in order, and then I'm going to pop them up on the screen so you can see them as well. So the first book I read this year was Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter. Now, I do really like thriller books, and I don't have a problem with gory thriller books. Like, my other pastime other than reading is like binge watching First 48. So that wasn't the issue. I didn't love it. A lot of people love Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter, and more power to you. Now, those people that like Karin Slaughter or like Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter, I would recommend that they try any Tammy Hogue books. I think during reading Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter, I was comparing it a lot to any Tammy Hogue books, and I just tend to like Tammy Hogue more. Okay, the second one was for my book club. It was We Begin at the End by Whitaker, and it was all right. It was an interesting story. Not my favorite. I'll say that. Not my favorite. Number 3 was A Man Called Ova by Fredrik Backman, which I actually have the copy right here. I'll also put it up on the screen. Very heartwarming. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Would I say it's one of my favorite reads this year? No. I do love it. I think it's a great book. I think it's very heartwarming, and if that's what you're looking for, that's definitely where you should find it, is in that book. It's about a ornery old man whose wife passes away, and he wants to end his own life, but through a series of events, he ends up not doing that. Number 4, I read for book club as well. It's called The Maid's Diary by Loreth and White. Think of any maid story where the maid is bad and things happen and it's a mystery. And that will be the story, honestly. Because it's just, that's literally what it is. Your typical maid story. Okay, number 5, The Little Book of, I think it's pronounced Hygge, I heard. It looks like Hygge, which I actually have it on my shelf over there. Loved it. It's the secrets of happy living that the Danes follow, the Danish secrets to happy living. And honestly, that's something that I've really wanted to embrace this year, is like a slower lifestyle, candles, reading. I get so preoccupied in my everyday life and worries and stresses, and I just want to relax, honestly. Okay, number 6, Local Woman Missing. That one was good. I liked that book. I thought it was interesting. I thought the storyline was crazy. Would I recommend to read it? No, because it started to fall apart at the end, and the ending was weird to me. But if you like mysteries, go for it. Number 7, Archer's Voice. Archer's Voice was really good. It was a romance. Kind of reminded me of Colleen Hoover's romances. There was parts of it that were really cringe to me. Like, she kept calling the deaf guy. He's either deaf or mute. I can't remember, but she keeps calling him her, like, sweet silent boy. That was cringe. And also, the whole, like, couple last chapters, like, really just were completely unhinged. For the love story aspect of it, I did enjoy it. Yeah, not one of my top reads. Would I recommend it? Yes. Is it the best book I've read this year? No. Okay, number 8, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. One of my top reads of the year. My friend, shout out to Jocelyn, she recommended it to me, and I am not a sci-fi girly. That's not what I'm into. But I gave it a try, and it... Chef's kiss. 9 stars out of 10. It was crazy. It's sci-fi. It's like, how do I explain it? It's kind of tricky to explain. This man is trapped in several alternate universes, and there's other versions of him also living in that universe, and they're basically trying to take over his life. And it's crazy. It made me have to go into a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. It definitely messed with my head, for sure. Crazy book, 9 out of 10. It's one that I keep coming back to, like at the end of the year when I reflect, because I did not originally rate it a 9 out of 10. But when I'm at the end of the year reflecting on all the books I read, I think of the ones that really stuck out to me, and that's one that really stuck out to me. Enough, in fact, that I put one of his series that he wrote, I think it's Wayward Pines, on my list for this coming year. Okay. Number 9, Hidden Pictures. Hidden Pictures was good. I enjoyed it. Now, the reason I'm not recommending it is it was good, and then the whole end supernatural piece became too weird and too far-fetched and almost silly. And I just didn't enjoy that. Like, the whole front of the book, I enjoyed. Then when it became supernaturally comical, no thank you. 10. I simply read this book because my books at the library were not ready yet, if I'm being honest, and I had it here at my house. False Witness by Karin Slaughter. Once again, I'm not a Karin Slaughter girl, I think. That's just the bones of it, really. It was 2 sisters that don't get along. Good sister, bad sister. One does drugs. There's like a pedophile involved. It just... That's all I'll say. Wasn't into it. Number 11, A Flicker in the Dark. I did recommend this. The details are a little foggy, but essentially it's about a girl who had a couple girls murdered in her hometown growing up. Her dad was accused of it, and then you go throughout the story to see, was her dad really the person who did it? And I thought it was a good story. I wish it would had a little prettier bow at the end to tie it all together. You'll see. You'll have to read it. I do recommend it. I think the storyline's good, and I thought that it does throw you for a bit of a loop. Okay, number 12. I always try to read at least one nonfiction book a year about something that interests me, something that I can be more knowledgeable about. Yes, it's fun to read thrillers, it's fun to read fantasy, it's fun to read all this, but I think it is important to at least prioritize one nonfiction book a year so that you can grow. I read 2 this year. One's more educational, one's more just biography. But number 12, A Fever in the Heartland by Timothy Egan. So, Fever in the Heartland is a book about the establishment of the Ku Klux Klan. And the woman that essentially made the whole Ku Klux Klan explode and take down that establishment. Very interesting. It took me a while to get through because nonfiction is really heavy for me. It's really hard to get through for me, and especially talking about a heavy subject like the Ku Klux Klan. But it was really interesting to see how that was established and how it all fell apart, essentially. And it made me feel smarter. Okay, number 13, The Cemetery of Untold Stories by Julia Alvarez. No. I wanted to like it. I did. It was set place in the Dominican Republic, which interested me because my boyfriend's family's from the Dominican Republic. So I thought, hey, let me read a story on the Dominican Republic and try to learn something about it. No. The story was weird. There was a lot of Spanish in it that didn't translate. Like, she didn't talk both Spanish and English, which is her prerogative, if that's her audience. But even some of the sentences I was like reading to my boyfriend who's bilingual, and he was like, I don't know what that's trying to say. It was confusing. It was weird. And I wouldn't recommend it. And that's just the thesis. Number 14. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Another one that I would recommend. Now, was it one of my top reads of the year? No. It was up there. It wasn't in the top because of the ending didn't tie together really well for me. Now, essentially what Remarkably Bright Creatures is about this woman who works at an aquarium. She lost her husband and her son disappeared in like a boating accident, and she becomes friends with this octopus named Marcellus, and he kind of helps her heal through those tragedies. Beautiful story. Honestly, beautiful story. I didn't like not knowing what happened to her son at the end. 15, which I have right here, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was lying to myself. I told myself that I wasn't a fantasy girly, and honestly, that's not the genre I tend to go for, but I was lying because I did read the whole Twilight series, and I did read Hunger Games. So I don't know who I was lying to. Read Court of Thorns and Roses. Court of Thorns and Roses. Yes, I would recommend it. One of the top reads of the year. It took a while to get into. I think a lot of people think it's overrated. I understand their opinions. Farrah's kind of annoying to me, but I loved getting to know the characters and developing. I loved reading as the storyline developed. I got through the first 3 books this year, which I will talk about. But I'm also reading this right now, as you can see. Got my little bookmark. I just started this yesterday. So, okay, number 16. Another recommendation, another top read of the year, The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Secret Garden. I even bought myself, I'll have to show. Oh my god, my cat's going crazy. I bought myself a fancier copy. It has the gold foil. No pictures, but hey, I don't know if it has pictures at all. I read this as a gift to my younger self. Secret Garden was one of my favorite movies growing up. Actually, it was one of the catalysts to my whole personality. And therefore, I just loved it. I really did. I can't even lie to you. It was exactly like the movie. That's what I'll have to say. Almost identical, and I loved it. Number 17. Number 17, Beach Read by Emily Henry. No. It's controversial. I know. The answer's no. I was bored. The only thing I liked about the story is that it took place in Michigan. Other than that, I was bored. I don't like how his ex just comes in. I didn't like it. And that's just the story behind it. I've liked other Emily Henry books. I've liked Happy Place. I liked Book Lovers. I didn't like this one. Sorry. Okay, 18, Go As a River by Shelley Reed. Would I recommend? Yes. Wasn't my top read one of my top reads of the year? No. As time progressed since I've left this story, it has sat with me more, and I have enjoyed it more. She's annoying. The main character, she's annoying. The story's beautiful. Weird. She's kind of overdramatic, but beautiful. It's something that I would recommend to my mom if I wanted to make her cry. It will pull on your heartstrings. It's kind of a sad story. 19, The Women by Kristin Hannah. Praise the Lord for Kristin Hannah. That book, top read of the year. And I know that other people feel that way. This book, oh, beautiful. Beautiful work of art. Amazing, stunning, spectacular. All that. She did that. I don't know what else to say. It's about a girl who goes to war in Vietnam as a nurse, and when she comes back, she realizes that people aren't receptive to women in war. People dismissed the validity of their experiences, and it was beautiful. 10 out of 10. Honestly, I read only one other Kristin Hannah book, which was The Nightingale, and I didn't love The Nightingale because I was comparing it to another World War II story that like really stuck with me. I'm tempted to go back and reread it because maybe I was the problem because I liked the women so much. So it makes me want to go back and reread it and see if I was the problem. Beautiful, cannot recommend enough. 20, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Yes, I would recommend it. It is very cozy. It's about mystical creatures on an island in an orphanage, and this man comes to check out the orphanage to see if it's running how it should and falls in love with the mystical creatures and their stories. It's heartwarming. It's sweet. Not one of my top reads of the year. 21, The Perfect Couple by Elin, Hildebrand, Borsnor. I liked it. Then I didn't like it. Because I don't even remember how the girl dies, but I remember it being dumb and disappointing. And that's all I have to say about that. 22, A Court of Mist and Fury. Very nice to see Rhysand. I like Rice. Rhysand and Farah's relationship develop. I liked to see, oh, spoiler alert. If you didn't read Actar, spoiler alert. I like to see that their relationship developed. I liked all my friends were like, chapter 53, 54. Was it nice and touching? Absolutely. Do I wish another human felt about me the way that he felt about her in those chapters? Absolutely. Alas, Did I think it was mind-blowing and the best, most beautiful piece of art I've ever read? No. The end. Okay. 23, The Firekeeper's Daughter. I read this on a recommendation from my coworker Lisa, and I enjoyed it. It is very young adult. It's Michigan focused, which always gives it like 7 bonus points in my eyes. It's about a Native American girl who has drugs in her community that are ruining her community. Many people are passing away because of that, and it's getting a lot of people in trouble. And she goes undercover to investigate. It's a good story, good storyline. Would I recommend it? No, it's kind of immature. I just didn't love it like I wanted to. 24, Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I like Riley Sager. I've read 2 of his stories, Home Before Dark and The Only One Left. The Only One Left I really liked. Survive the Night, no. Wouldn't recommend. Not great. 25, it was like a bad Scream movie. 25, You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. One of the worst books I've read this year. Whole storyline's weird. Whole story's weird. Hated it. Sorry. It was bad. It was not good. 26. Yinka, Where's Your Husband? I got this book off a recommendation from a friend from book club. It is not something that I would normally read, but I would recommend it. It is on my recommended list because it's about this Nigerian woman who feels the pressure to get married because everyone in her family is getting married, and that's like a cultural expectation for her at the age that she's at, and her life kind of unravels and falls apart, and she learns to find her way. And I think any woman approaching 30 or in their 30s kind of feels that way. I've heard your 30s is when you start to figure things out, and I surely hope that that's true because it's hard out here, man. 27, 5 Total Strangers. If not the worst book of the year, tied with You Shouldn't Have Come Here. So bad. So bad. So immature. So weird. We fight. I get in a car with a stranger. With five total strangers. We fight. We get in a snowstorm. We fight in the snowstorm. We get out of the car in the snowstorm. We get back in the car in the snowstorm. Something comes missing. Guy in a yellow hat. We fight again in the snowstorm. So dumb. Do not recommend. Do not read it. Save yourself. 28 is my second nonfiction book of the year, Gold Dust Woman, which is the biography of Stevie Nicks. This has nothing to do with Stevie Nicks. My opinion on this book. I saw Stevie Nicks in concert this year, and it was amazing, fantastic, an experience that I will never live down for the rest of my life. Gorgeous, radiant. Anyways, this book, boring. Worst snort, don't like the way it's written. It's all over the place. It will just drop a random piece of information and then like that was normal to do. She does drugs, she has sex, she quits Fleetwood Mac, and repeat, and she makes this whole album, and it just is that way throughout the entire story, and I think that I would rather listen to it from her perspective. It was just a lot of weird information. It took me 2 months to read it. That's how you know it wasn't good. Okay, and my last book of the year, which happens to be in my car right now, A Court of Wings and Ruin. Now, contrary to popular belief, I thought this was better than, sorry, I wrote it in my notes wrong what I read. I thought this was better than Mist and Fury. I said it. If you hate my opinion, that's fine. You have your own mind and free will to create your own opinion. I didn't like it. Sorry. No. Sorry. I did like it. I liked it better than Court of Mist and Fury. The storyline, the way they develop, the way the relationships develop. There was a couple moments that really pulled on my heart when her when the cereal, I'm not going to do spoiler alerts. What happens with the cereal, okay? Reese or Rice or whatever the frick his name is, speech at the end before war got me. Tamlin springing into action got me. And I know people feel some type of way about Tamlin, and guess what? I don't agree. And maybe that is a reflection of my own self-work that I need to do. I don't agree. I think he has work to do, but I think he deserves love. And I think if he's at fault for loving Farah, then I'm at fault in life, I guess, for loving people. And the part where her dad, which is why I'm reading this now, once again. But if you would like to follow along, I'm doing 30 reads this year. If you are interested in hearing my reviews, 2 things. I have a book Instagram called Lissy's Libros, Lissy''S, Libros, common Spanish spelling. I have that where I review books right after I read them, if you want to keep up on that. If you enjoy my YouTube videos where I review the books, I can either do that at the end of every year, or if you want me to do it every 3 months with my reads, I can do that. Just leave a comment down below and speak to what interests you the most. I hope that you have a great start to your new year, and if you are creating a reading goal for yourself or you want to start, I wish you happy reading. Thank you to those who have been watching my YouTube videos. I did get a new camera. Jeff got me one for Christmas this year, so I'm hoping that the quality that you're seeing right now is a little bit better. I appreciate the support. More than you know, this is something that I really enjoy doing. If you like these videos and you want me to keep making videos, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, especially, and comment, and all those things. I hope you have a great new year, and thank you for watching. Bye!